Hi everybody, this is Felicia and welcome to my channel. I know I have been MIA, but I have been really concentrating on my studies. I'm so glad it's almost over. We got 2 more weeks. As you can see here from what I'm showing you, it's been kind of crazy. I've been keeping up with my schoolwork. I am on top of everything. I just have to be prepared for my finals, which are coming up. So this week is the last week of instruction, and then we have a week of finals. And so I'm excited that it's over. I already have my classes chosen for next semester. A couple of books that are already on their way. I'm prepared ahead of time because what I found out what works for me, and I'll kind of go over that list here. I was able to weed out the stuff that didn't work for me. So I'm just basically I guess going through the list because it's been really interesting. I'm not gonna lie, my major is bioarchaeology, and it's interesting because not only are we learning about the dusty bones and things like that we'll be digging up, but we're also learning about how can you tell if it's a male, female, child, how old the child was, and fauna analysis. I had human paleontology this semester, so that was interesting. I do apologize for not putting up regular videos, but I decided to kind of choose and kind of focus on my classes, and I also am very, very happy with the results. I hope I get that 4.0 because I'm this close, really close, but we'll see with the finals. Oh my gosh, I'll be super excited because that was my goal for this semester, and to make sure I did that. So I had 5 classes this semester. One was archaeology method and theory. I enjoyed it. Actually, I started enjoying it around about midway through. The second class I had was human paleontology. Then my third class was medical anthropology. Fourth class was criminal justice, because that was an upper division elective, and because that's kind of like what I'm going into, but it was criminal justice on race and crime. So it was unbelievable because it really tied into a lot of the stuff that I was learning in my anthropology classes. So my 5th class was my ultimate favorite class, which is the archaeology of Mesoamerica. Oh my gosh, I love that class. Finals is going to be where I'm going to be concentrating the most. I don't even know how I even really got through this, to be honest with you. Online classes is not for everybody. So it just really amazed me, and the pre-organization that I did prior till class even starting was the most helpful thing I've ever could have done for myself. So it only takes you about a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most, to get organized prior to class. And I found out what worked and what didn't, and I'm going to go to that list here in a second. So what worked? Okay, so we're going to go to that. What worked for me was, and I'm going to show you. I know everybody in the study community, everybody's going over how the iPad works and how they can take digital notes and things like that and all that stuff, which is great. I'm not knocking any of that. I think it's a good idea if you can go ahead and do that. That's great. But what worked for me is each one of my classes this semester, I decorated this one. Each one of my classes had its own notebook. It made it so much easier for me to refer back when it came time to the tests, when it came time to it was so much easier. If I had kept it on my iPad, for me, I would have been flipping through and scrolling through, and I would have missed something. And because I've tried it when I first got the iPad, and it didn't necessarily work for me. So I am using my iPad for other stuff, like creative stuff. And I did this is my critical medical anthro class. And I highlight my headings and things, and I also use different color ink to make certain things that needed to be, stand out. Each one of my classes had these, and these are a little thin, and there's grid line little notebooks. This worked unbelievably. You would be surprised. So this is my human paleontology class. It looks scary, but it's not. It's really organized. That's why I figured this worked for me, because I was able to actually go back on everything I wrote down in each one of these books and find it. I was really surprised at how well this worked for me. So, and then I tabbed, this one has so many lectures. This one has, but it's it had 33 lectures, so I got 3 more lectures to go, so 36 lectures. So what I did was I tagged my books. I annotate a lot in my books, a lot. So don't get scared when I show you this, but this is my race and crime book. And this one's the worst one because it's got, like I said, highlights, notations. I worked with like a few pens and a bunch of highlighters. This worked for me. This was the greatest method that I found that worked for me the best. Right now I have a paper that is due tomorrow. It's already done. It's on my computer. It's just, and I've already went over and edited it a couple times already. I'm going to go over it a third time, and that's why I try to get done with my stuff early so that I can take a day, 2 hours here, 2 hours this day, just to go over it and make sure that it is, you know, done right and correctly. I had a huge annotated assignment. It was an annotated bibliography that contained 8 annotations we had to come up with. We had to do 8 of those, and each one of those annotated had to have 2 paragraphs of summary under that. 2, each one. And then we had to come up with a 500 to 1,000 summary at the end. That was a huge project. That one ended up being 12 pages long. I didn't know how I got through that. And it had to be APA format. So I already got my notebooks for next semester. I have 2 of my class books that already came. 1 is on the way. I'm preparing for next semester already ahead of time. That's right, I was supposed to give you the list. Okay, so what worked for me, the notebooks, individual class notebooks. These translucent sticky barrels. The best thing I've ever found at the dollar store. I mean, I've been using them like crazy. Okay, I used quite a bit of these. So that worked. You can't have enough of these. I never saw these before, but these Artezas. These Arteza pens, 0.7. They worked really well. I have them in red, blue, and black. That was it, you guys, which is another thing. So, bullet journal. And in my bullet journal, I had, I'll show you an example. I kept my weekly spreads very minimal. I was always in that bullet journal. Every morning I would come in this room here and I would sit down and look at my bullet journal, see what I had to do for the week, double check, because that only took 15 minutes. I would double check with the syllabus, double check with what was online. That only took me 15 minutes because I had everything set up and prepared to go. I know everybody in the study community has their way of doing things, and find out what works for you. Note taking on the iPad, that did not work for me. I annotated my books. I don't have any books on electronic books. I choose not to because I like the physical book in my hand. The only thing that I would change for myself is I probably would get a monitor. Staring at the little tiny laptop screen for long periods of time, oh gosh, it was interesting. If anything I'll change for next semester is I'll get a bigger monitor. I have other videos because I've had to take breaks. That is extremely important. And when I take breaks, I leave the house and I stay gone for pretty much all day long. That's what I call a break. And so I was able to go to San Francisco. I went apple picking. I went to the beach. I went to Japantown in San Francisco. I biked in San Francisco and rode across the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, that was interesting. Good thing I'm in shape because, oh no. Anyway, that ended up being a total of 24 miles that day. But yes, find out what works for you. Have a great and wonderful, wonderful week. Make sure you do well on your finals, study, take your breaks, drink your water, drink your coffee, drink your tea, and then just have a great and wonderful study week. Take care, guys. Bye.